All right, thank you for having me. I'm excited to read to you today. The book I'll be reading is Have You Filled a Bucket? All day long, everyone in the whole wide world walks around carrying an invisible bucket. I think reading is invaluable. It's an incredible way to further education, to remain connected to world issues, to simply entertain yourself, when maybe there's not someone around to do anything with. And I look at kind of my upbringing and think that I wish I had read more as a child. Now, when we're traveling on the road or in the clubhouse during a rain delay, it's a great time for me to read. And I think back on, how much time I had growing up and how many more books I would have loved to have read. And so to try and impress upon younger children the importance of reading, and also the benefits of reading is something that I'm definitely excited to do. As a kid, I knew that I wasn't old enough to stay up till the end of a game, but I liked to wake up the next morning, check out the paper, and see if my favorite team had won or lost, or how many points my favorite team, my favorite player had scored. And so I think there's a great opportunity for kids to read with players and to read with their parents and become engaged not only, like I said, in an issue, but also in the quality time that you can spend together.
And reading and the sports page and following baseball also includes a little math too, right? Were you involved in statistics and things like that?
Yeah, there are a ton of lessons that maybe inadvertently you become exposed to when you're reading. Certainly, you want to see what your favorite player's batting average is, and then you think about, well, how do you calculate batting average or ERA? So there are a ton of math lessons implicit in reading. Just remember that everyone carries an invisible bucket, and think of what you can say or do to fill it. Here are some ideas for you. You could smile and say hi to the bus driver. He has a bucket too. You could invite the new kid at school to play with you. You could write a thank you note to your teacher. You could tell your grandpa that you like to spend time with him. There are many ways to fill a bucket. I'd always loved baseball. I'd also been pretty passionate about education. Both my parents are teachers, and so the importance of education was always stressed in our household. And I grew up about 30 minutes away from Yale, and I thought that was probably the last place I would go to college. But I realized that baseball was an avenue to pursue the best education possible, and I had committed to using that skill that I had. And for me, it was baseball. For many others, it can be another sport, a hobby, music, any kind of passion that you have that may be an avenue toward getting the best education possible is certainly one that's worthwhile pursuing. As I was pursuing my education, I'd always thought that my reality would be I would become a doctor when I grew up, and baseball was always this fantasy life that I entertained. And as it turned out, it seems like I got that exactly backwards. That baseball was my reality, and this life as a doctor was more of the fantasy. But I'd always been fascinated by medicine, and like I said, thought that my impact on the medical community would be as a physician. But as my baseball career took hold, I realized that I was still passionate about medicine, still wanted to remain connected to the medical world, and started the Strike 3 Foundation in 2008 to raise funding and awareness for pediatric cancer research and treatment. And the impetus behind that was my older sister Leslie, who's now a close to 25-year childhood cancer survivor, and that became the very obvious cause. And recently we've launched a community initiative called Play It Forward, which encourages kids to think about ideas and projects that they can come up with on their own and execute to help other kids battling cancer. We've come to find that children have an unbelievable sense of imagination and innovation and creativity, and when you give them a forum where they can express that, it's really remarkable the things that they can come up with. It's simply encouraging kids to kind of call on their inner innovation and creativity and entrepreneurial qualities to come up with these ideas on their own.